Hey, welcome back to the channel. I wanted to talk to you guys about something that's near and dear to my heart. The subject is mentorship, how to find a really good mentor for your son if you are a single mom, or if you're a young kid and you don't have a dad, you don't have any male role models around. Suggest this to your mom. Hopefully, she'll get you signed up. Uh, I was 14 years old, and my mom felt that I needed to have, good male role models in my life. I was already busy with, soccer or wrestling or sports or Boy Scouts or whatever, but, to keep me busy and to keep me out of trouble, she got me involved with Big Brothers and Big Sisters of America. I wanted to talk to you about my big brother, Greg. So, Greg is he's 10 years older than me. So I was 14. He was 24. He was an airman, brand new in San Antonio, stationed here. And I guess the Air Force encouraged their airmen to do something positive with their time outside of being on duty. And so it was a Thursday night, the first time I ever met Greg. And he picked me up in a red sports car and he took me to the arcade. I was just a dumbass kid, that skinny little kid, and I was into pop and rap, and he was into Metallica and Megadeth, and he was super cool. He liked to lift weights, and we'd watch martial arts movies together, that kind of stuff. And he had good looking girlfriends, and it was kind of fun to hang out with him, that kind of thing. But he kept me out of trouble, and he kept my nose clean. He taught me right from wrong, and he just kind of was able to just listen to me and be there in my corner. Um, there was a time where I was wrestling. He came to one of my wrestling matches, and a girl that I had a big crush on was in the stands with him, and I was getting prepared. I think I weighed 140 pounds or something, and my opponent headbutted me, and so I got mad and I wrapped him up and like pinned him in 30 seconds. And as the referee was raising my hand, in celebration, I looked up in the stands, and my friend was looking at his arms while he was eating a taco because he had such big arms. She was wiping her mouth. Oh my god, his arms are so huge. And I was like, what the fuck? Anyway, uh, he took me to the gym. We'd work out together, at the Air Force Base gym. And I remember, I think I was 14 or 15 years old. And he warned me. He told me, he was like, "Hey man, don't try to keep up with the same weight that I'm doing." And my pride got there, and my competitive nature got in the way. And I was like, "Dude, I play soccer. My legs are strong, and so tit for tat, pound for pound, I lifted just as much as he could." And my mom called him the next morning. It was like, "Yeah, he can't get out of bed. I couldn't move. My legs were so sore, so I couldn't go to school." Um, Later down the road, I think I was 19 years old and needed a car. And his sister had a broken down car. I think the motor was busted, and my mom paid like $1,000 to help me out, and he took most of that and got parts and whatever. And so in his front driveway, him and I rebuilt this motor. There was a broken motor head, and we rebuilt this head out of a black and white Haynes book. That was the kind of stuff that he was showing me. Um, Later down the road, he bought some land in Spring Branch, and I think it was close to 23 or 30 acres or something like that. I just remember he would be on his tractor clearing the land by himself, and every once in a while he would ask for my help or his stepdad's help or whatever to come out and help put together this his first home. And his first home was like this metal built garage that half of it was a garage and half of it was his living quarters. But we built it by hand, put every bolt in it and snapped it together, and he had a place to live. It was paid for cash. Um, Later down the road, he built his own house by his hands. You know, of course, he didn't lay the foundation. He hired the foundation guys or the plumbing guys or, you know, whatever the mechanical issues, HVAC, that kind of stuff. He had those guys come out and do it. But everything else, you know, installing cabinets or putting in floors or painting or, you know, any of that stuff, he did all of that by himself. And, you know, he taught me that to not fear going after what you wanted. He taught me to, you know, if you want something bad enough, go do it. And all you need is a book. All you need now is YouTube. Uh, so that was pretty cool. I remember growing up, the kid on the left of me ended up overdosing on heroin. He was a drug addict. He didn't die. I saw him years later whenever I was doing my paramedic rotations at an emergency room, and I walked in, and bam, there he is, this kid that I hadn't seen in, you know, I don't know, 20 years or something, and he's gorking out on heroin, and I'm, you know, taking care of him. I'm trying to get an IV and that kind of stuff, and I whispered in his ear, you know, do you remember me? And you know, his eyes were in the back of his head and whatever. So I just knew right there that I was glad that, you know, I had somebody to keep me straight. The kid on my right, you know, none of us had fathers in our lives. The kid on my right, he ended up stealing cars and getting busted, went to jail for it for a while. You know, so the kid on my right went to jail, and the kid on my left was a drug overdose. You know, that's just the way life was back in the 90s, I guess. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling, but the point is if you are a single mom, I know that you're working really hard. I know that you're putting food on the table and you're paying the rent and, you know, working one or two jobs and you're stressed out of your mind. You probably got, maybe you have one kid, maybe you have three kids. I totally get it. I saw my mom really, really work hard to provide for us. And, but I encourage you to get them involved in Boy Scouts or get them involved in with Big Brothers Big Sisters of America or something, sports, you know, maybe find a coach. He needs that mentor in his life to keep him on the straight, and you know this. Yeah, Greg's still around. He's still my brother. We didn't stop at 18 years old. What else can I talk about it? I guess that's pretty much it. Thanks for tuning in.